Yo, Saints Talk listeners, what's up? We back for another week. Nick, I would ask you how you doing, but I think I already know.
Hey, we had to fight through it a little bit. We got the podcast started. We're good to go. We're rolling. It's going to be a good show. Finishing off the top 25 countdown list.
Yep.
And just a reminder to everyone, this is the last pod until July 27th. We will be on a 2-week hiatus, getting ready for training camp, and then we'll be back and we'll be ready to go. But hey, football starts this month. All good things. Everything's coming together. Ramcheck contract's done. So the Saints are it's about here. It's about here. 2 weeks to go, and football will be going. 3 weeks actually. Jameis and Taysom full effect. I'm fired up, man. I've been thinking about it all day. I drove by the facility earlier just to look at it. I mean, I'm just ready to go, man. I'm ready for football to get started. Yeah. The vibe this year going into it is just so much better than last year.
Right.
Just everything feels good, man. And I'm excited to get the season going. I really can't wait. But we're within the month, so
yeah, we're
here.
Almost. So yeah, people say like, 78 days into football start or 61, or I think it's 68 at this point. I'm like, bro, football starts in a couple of weeks. Like, what are you talking about? Ain't nobody like the season is like that's too far of a goal. Like I can't project out that far. That's too depressing.
I'm not trying to skip training camp. You know what I'm saying? So you say 72 days, but yeah, I saw the Armstead graphic the other day. It was like 72 days, so it'd be like 70 or 69 or 68 now.
Yeah,
man, I'm ready. Count me down to camp.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, it's no light at the end of week one. Like, no, like, but it's easy to see like the training camp date on the schedule, like 3 weeks from now, whatnot. That's reachable. That's doable. That's manageable. It's not depressing. It's on the way. A couple of weekends and football's here. You start talking about like late August and September. I'm like, yep. I can't start counting down on anything that far back. Like my wife, she told me, she said, "Hey, I think I want to buy a car in 5 years." I said, "No, don't tell me that. Talk to me a year 4.5, and I might entertain it."
We might have Jetson cars in 5 years. You can't think about buying a car in 5 years, man.
That's supposed to be the 2000 bag, man. We never.
Yeah, we still make it there though. I mean, they're driving themselves now, and people. I mean, look, they just drove a Pontiac in outer space and Fast and the Furious. So I mean, anything's possible.
Oh man. Have you seen? So you've seen it?
Yeah, I saw it.
I mean, still haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw.
It is what it is.
It is what
what it is. Yeah. If you like them, you'll like it. I mean, they're dumb movies, but I like them, man. Like, keep making them. Let's go to 22. I mean, look, I'm part of the Toretto family at this point. So
clearly,
yes,
yeah, clearly. I will say this, and I'm not a big TV watcher, but I watched this movie Nobody last night, and if you like these John Wick, Kill Bill style movies, check it out, man. It's crazy.
Oh, is that the one with the Better Call Saul guy?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, that movie, it was great. It was great. Yeah, he's just yeah.
Yeah, that movie was over the top. I'm the one that recommended it, and so once the movie was over, I just took a bow in front of my family that was watching it here with me. I was like, "You guys are welcome."
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Bob Odenkirk was in it. Yeah, it's one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's a great watch. Yeah, it's a great watch. And like he's like perfect in that role. Yeah.
Oh man, his dad. Oh, I'm not gonna kill a movie for nobody, but like just watch it. It's a good movie. It's entertaining. A lot of shoot 'em up. But if you're into that stuff, then I got a papa. He told me, he said, "Son, don't send me nothing if ain't no bullets flying." My grand, he's like 80. He's like, "Bro, I don't need nothing sentimental. Just give me that wild stuff." So we're here to talk football, and we're gonna get on the list now. And so I think we stopped at
we got 8 to go. We got 8 to go. Yeah,
8 to go. So you want to rehash the list, or
yeah, I will. I think I made I made one change. I don't know if I changed it on my list. So what I'm saying now might not be what was in the other podcast. Before we do that, too, just look. The link's on the site if you're watching on YouTube. If not, NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Go there, sign up, get hooked up. Get locked in before training camp. You sign up now. You're helping us out. Yeah. Just you listen to the show. Look, we're going into year 2. We need you. So get on there. Let's do it. And greatly appreciate it if you do.
Real quick before we go, just shout out to the people that joined us in live chat, man. Some people, you just see them every day. Dreamville Vic is always like on, he's always got it on the screen looking at it. I see Bob in here, Andre, Matt, just everyone that's showing up. Ant, Byron always shows up. I was DMing him today. John, Matt, Gerald, just shouting out everybody in chat, man. Troy, thank you guys for showing up. Jesse's always here. He's a regular. So everyone that supports us, man, we appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Thanks for giving us your time, and we appreciate it. So shout out to you guys. And if you're not subscribed, then
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, sign up now. Be a real one before camp. You lock in
You're a
now.
real one.
Yeah, you're a warrior if you're signing up now. No, but we got good stuff on there. The guys watching football and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Got one coming tomorrow about just personnel and tendencies and how they operate out of that stuff, and then later this week breaking down some of this, how they stunt, twist the games they run on the defensive line. So deepening the understanding of that. We'll be going through some of their route concepts next week, some of the stuff they do most often, how they run it, how they set it up. So getting into some of that stuff, cap, just stuff about the cap we'll have on there. So just going throughout July, just these guides to follow in the Saints. And even if you know some of the stuff, there's going to be some stuff in these things that you don't know. Like we uncovered a percentage of 11 personnel, how many times they ran with specific players on the field, stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of that. Their most play action heavy personnel groupings, all that stuff. So sign up, get on it, support us, helps the show, all that. And if you're just a podcast listener, we got bonus podcasts on the site too. So the top 25.
Top 25.
All right. So, I'll running mine down 25 to 9.
All right, go ahead.
Patrick Robinson at 25, 24, Peyton Turner.
Wait, didn't you have 2 people at 25?
Yeah, well,
P-Rob and
P-Rob or Adebo, whoever's the starting cornerback.
Or PJ, whoever. Right?
Yeah. Peyton Turner, 24. Pete Werner, 23. Cesar Ruiz, 22. 21, Andrews Pete. 20, Marquez Callaway. 19, Latavius Murray. I got an aside on Latavius Murray, too, before we get going on this.
Okay.
18, Adam Troutman. 17, Taysom Hill. 16, Traquan Smith. 15, Deontay Harris. 14, Marcus Davenport. 13, Jameis Winston. 12, Malcolm Jenkins. 11, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. 10, Eric McCoy. 9, Cam Jordan.
All right. So let me pull up my list. All right, here we go. So I have 25 was Patrick Robinson. 24 was Marquez Callaway. 23, Andrews Pete. 22, Carl Granderson. 21, Peyton Turner. 20, Latavius Murray, who Nick has an aside on in a second. 19, Adam Trotman. 18, TQS. Traquan Smith for you guys. Cesar Ruiz, number 17. 16, Davenport. 15, Malcolm Jenkins, 14, Deontay Harris. 13, Taysom Hill. 12, Jameis Winston. 11, Marshawn Lattimore. 10, David Onyemata. 9, Cameron. Wait. Yeah, I did 9, Cameron Jordan. So those are mine. And Latavius Murray. What's going on?
You had Cam at 9?
I had Cam at
I don't think you had Cam at 9. You might have made a change and didn't reflect it.
Man, I got like 3 lists. I'm pretty sure this is the updated one, though.
Okay,
yeah, I'm pretty
maybe
sure I'm pretty sure I had Cam at 9. Yeah, because I'm looking at my list, and they're identical. Yeah, so I got them in lockstep. Yeah, I got them in lockstep. I'm looking at the 2 lists I'm looking at. Yeah, I think I got it right. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Okay. Yeah, just on Murray, I saw the thing today. Like he had the comment about being more efficient and everything, and just the fans were going crazy. I don't understand the want to run the ball more than you play. I just don't understand that. I don't think I ever will. I don't think I'll ever understand that. That's not how you win.
I mean, is there a team that ran the ball primarily? What the last Patriots Super Bowl, they started their offense with the run though.
They started with the run at the end of the year. They switched to it because their passing game was ineffective. Brady wasn't throwing the ball well, and they kind of had to switch up the way they approach. But I would be surprised if there was a heavy split toward. I bet they probably still passed more than they ran in most games. But look, Belichick's a guy that'll go not like straight up not run the ball in a game or not pass. And
not pass. Yeah.
I mean, last year they were a run first team and they weren't a very good team. So
that's true.
They passed for 2,890 yards last year. So
yes, I learned that from you earlier today during one of our many arguments.
Yeah. But look, I mean, that's just not if your splits 65% run, you're probably not going to be a very good team. That's just not how you run is whatever they want it to be. I don't know if it's 55, 45. Like you're probably still, if you're running the ball that much, that means that you're probably not very good at throwing it. and you're trying to hide your passing game.
Yeah, I think
because that's just not how you win in the NFL in 2021.
Have you forgot who the head coach of this team is, by the way?
Yeah.
Did Sean Payton quit? Because Sean ain't throwing the ball 40% of the time. It's not 0% chance if that happens. Now, there may be a game where he says, "Hey, all right, these guys are, they're weak against the run, and I know this is a team that we can exploit that against." So yeah, he's not gonna, ignore a good game plan where a team just has a bad run defense. He's gonna say, "Hey, well, I'm a passer," but as a foundational piece as like the foundation of a Saints offense being the run game. Yeah, I mean, I can see maybe if someone like, gosh, if the quarterback position was in like a really bad state, then maybe. But like as it stands now, I would have a hard time seeing that coming to fruition.
Or if you have like a serious run first quarterback, your split's probably going to be different, and then you're going to lose in the playoffs like the Ravens.
So you're saying Taysom is if Taysom is the starter, then you think that maybe if Taysom is the starter, I think you'll see maybe like a meaningful amount of runs more than pass, right? And maybe like 7% or something like that.
I think that's a little bit different when you're going, but you're going to lose in the playoffs. You aren't going to win a Super Bowl like that. You just aren't, because teams figure out how to stop it when they really lock in. Those teams get shut down.
Yeah, you can scheme. Yeah, because at the end of the day,
you have to pass the ball.
Where you going? Like, yeah, third and long is third and long. If you don't have an answer for third and long as a team, your chance of success is diminished, right? Because your running scheme doesn't work then. You can load up the box all you want and play action fake. The defense is not gonna fall for that. So yeah, I mean, you can get away with play like that in early downs or when it's not so obvious, but every game, there comes a time when you got to throw the ball, and a lot of times you got to be able to throw it against man coverage too. And so if you can't do that, then good luck as a team having success deep into postseason. Not happening. All right,
back to the list.
To the list. So
you can go first here. You share your number 8.
My number 8. I'm the more I was thinking about it, I was like, I think I did throw my list off a little bit, but we're gonna rock with it just because. Yeah, we're gonna rock with it. Number 8, I got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Young players. I think he's still ascending, which is good. I think that he brings something to the defense that they need. I think his attitude and the intensity that he plays with, it sounds cliche. And there was probably a time when I was like, oh man, that stuff doesn't matter. I think it does. I think that he's someone that's versatile. He fits today's defenses. You got he can play safety. He can play slide. He can play, as a force defender in the box, things like that. So versatile player, still ascending. Some things he still needs to work on, but every player in the NFL has things they need to work on. So that's definitely not a negative. But yeah, number 8, I came at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And, I think to pick a guy in the 4th round and him to be this high on a roster this talented, that's a home run pick. Like that's a home run pick. That's how you are able to make bad picks some drafts and get away with it if you can counter it with a pick and a player like that. So yeah, my number 8, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, slot corner / safety for the Saints.
The PFF had a great stat on him. They tweeted it out yesterday or 2 days ago. That he was targeted more often than any DB with 250 plus slot snaps, 77 targets, 5.2 snaps per target. He forced the 6th lowest passer rating allowed, the 7th fewest yards per target, and added 11 PBUs. So, I mean, the PBUs is helped out by volume. The other things are definitely working against volumes. That volume makes your job a lot harder. He succeeded. So, I mean, I think that was an eye-opening statistic for him because I think sometimes last year it felt like, he was encouraging and giving up some catches, not a lot of damaging stuff, but maybe a decent volume, and it was because he was being thrown at like an incredible amount of times, and he was locking things down pretty well from that spot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how he continues to grow, how he continues to get better. I think like you said, he's just starting to scratch the surface, and I think he can get a lot better. I think he's really good right now. My number 8, I put Lattimore here.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to go back to the Cam Jordan thing and say that everybody on the list at this point is really, really good. I think that some of the inconsistencies in his game just kind of put him at this spot. And I think if he was at his best every single week, I think you're looking at a guy that's potentially has number one on the team talent.
Yeah.
And there's a tight conversation there, but I think out of the 3, 4, 5 guys that are in that conversation, he would definitely be in there. And I think he's very easily top 2 or 3 if he plays at his peak every single week. If not, he's still a very good cornerback, just a guy that plays better in some games than he does in others. And, I think most games he's still pretty good, but just that little bit of variance in his play week to week. I put him at 8. And, I think that's a respectable spot, but I think he should be and could be higher. And hopefully that's the player they get this year.
Yeah. I mean, I had him at 11. My goodness. Yeah, I'm just looking at it, but it was like Onyemata, Cam Jordan.
Yeah, look.
It's not embarrassing. It's like, what do you do, right? Like, It's hard these guys are all good. Top 10, I mean, you could probably put them in a jar and shake them up and let them fall where they may, with the exception of a couple of guys that absolutely have to be at the top. But yeah, so that's fair placement.
I will say that I have 2 guys ahead of him. If you told me, look, you have to cut one of these players and keep and one of these 2, one has to go, only one can stay.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 guys that I would drop and keep him instead of.
I got about 4.
Yeah, I might actually have 3 if we're going to factor in age on another one, but definitely 2.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that one. I think part of it is positional value.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Like, as far as but the guys above them, I think, been playing better, or they will, or something along the lines. But yeah, okay. So my number 7, I actually tried to put him higher. I feel like I need to switch it right now. Now that I'm looking at my list, man, this is the thing about these lists. Like, the day I made the list,
you just gotta let it fly, man.
Yeah, I was really confident in it. Now I'm looking, I'm like, dang, like, who do I think, like, who was better last year? One guy was clearly better last year. All right, I'm gonna rock with it. I put Mario, my goodness, Marcus Williams at my number 7. I think he's. I said this about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and I feel this way about Marcus Williams. He feels like an ascending player, and it's funny because this is his 5th year in the league. So typically by that point, you kind of know what a player is, and I don't think he's going to make some huge jump, because if he did, then he's like perennial All-Pro. But I think he's getting to that point where he's making like these small jumps. Last year, he kind of handled the tackling thing. This year, during when they had the offseason training program, he spoke about playing, in the box some. So I think he's going to like expand his game. It's hard to find a safety like in the NFL who can play post safety, right? It's just not a lot of guys who can play single high by himself. It's just very few of those guys, and he's one of them. So, before, I don't know many people that, and I'm not saying who did or who didn't, I don't even remember what I said, who predicted that he would be franchise tagged, but it makes sense. And, I think he was someone that if they extended, whatever the price came in at, I would feel good about it, because he's young. He's getting better. You don't feel like anything's going to happen off the field with him, and he's at a premium position. So I wanted to get him higher. This is kind of where he fell for me, but he landed in my number 7. I think that's a super respectable place for a player on this roster. So yeah, Marcus Williams, my number 7 safety, Saints.
That's a decent spot for him. I got him a little bit higher. My guy at 7. David Onyemata, at one point I had him, I'm not going to lie, I had him 5th on my list, and he just kind of moved down a little bit as I reordered things.
Yeah, I feel like I had Onyemata higher last week than 10. I don't know what's going on with my list, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an argument for him that someone could credibly argue that. I couldn't go there with it, but I think if someone argued that he was the best defensive player on the team, I don't think I'd be super upset about it. He had a really good year last year. I think he's going to continue to get better. I just don't think he's quite at that status yet, but I think he's actually in that conversation. And I had him at a spot, and then I kind of my thoughts became a little bit more clear, and I had to lower him a little bit. But look, I think he's on the uprise. He is potentially maybe the best player in the front right now, depending on what Cam does this year. I think coming off of last year.
Yeah.
Onyemata deserves that spot right now, and I think he's going to keep getting better. He's it's just crazy. We all know his story, how he's coming up,
right,
where he came from. Just started playing real football not that long ago, American football, when he came into the NFL. Yeah. So look, I think that he's on the rise. I think he's going to continue to get better. I think the way things went with Sheldon Rankins, that situation became easy to manage because of how good Onyemata is. And I think he was just really at a point where you wanted to get him more snaps either way. So I got him at 7, and I think
he's good, man. He's good. He's got like so many traits that you want from a defensive tackle. Like the power is obviously there. He's quick. He's quicker than I think we get. I mean, he's not Aaron Donald quick because
nobody is.
He's not even Geno Atkins quick, which is really, really, really quick. Hey, Geno, I'm gonna come in and rush some subs. Just take that little contract. But anyway, I just think he's one of those guys that I'm saying it again. He feels like he's ascending too. I mean, when you talk about guys who you don't mind paying, right? And I remember last offseason, they prioritized re-signing him like over Pete. He was one of the first guys that they got re-signed. And so they knew what they had in him. And I just think that he's one of the most important guys. Like if you told me to name 3 guys, one guy at each level who can't get hurt this year, he would be my pick for the D-line.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah, he'd be my pick. Middle linebacker, that's easy. No one has to guess there. But yeah, he's so good. He's so good. Power, quickness, speed. He can kind of bend a little bit. He can stunt. I mean, he can play the run. He can play the 1. He can play the 3. He can play the 0 if you want him to. He can play outside and stunt inside. He could just do so much, man. If you want to run a 3-4, he can be your DE. I mean, he's someone that like I could see Belichick. Like if he ever hits free agency, Belichick is signing him because he's just one of those versatile guys that Belichick and the guys from history like so. I think I agree with you when you said you could have like easily justified putting him higher. And I feel kind of crazy putting him at 10. So, all right, my number 6. Now it's starting to get like pretty. It's starting to get. I'm about to make an executive decision on the switch here. I'm actually going number 5. I'm going Eric McCoy. I just made a switch, so I'm going Eric McCoy, number 5. I think he's one of those.
You just skipped like 2 spots, man. We're on 6.
I mean, I'm at number 6. Number 6. I had McCoy at 5, and I just moved him to 6. My bad. Yeah, I got Eric McCoy at 6. If you told me pick a player who, maybe not a first or second year player because those guys make like large. Their jumps are like larger just because of the nature, especially with last season being like it was, and then no training camp. So guys like Troutman, Ruiz, and Zach Bond and Marquez Callaway, guys like that, they're probably going to have somewhat of a jump just because they got football this year and it's their second year. But if just taking those guys out who were drafted last year, if I had to pick a guy who I think would make the biggest jump, I think he may be the guy that I would choose. I think he could basically be on the verge of greatness. If you guys go NewOrleans.Football, search Eric McCoy. Nick wrote an article last offseason where he spoke about the traits that McCoy had for the guard position, and they were like elite. So imagine what they are for center.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like insane. So I don't really have a lot to say about him here. He is, again, you drafted him in the second round, and this is what you hope for when you draft a guy in the second round. Like, this is how you draw it up. This is the best case scenario, almost, right? Unless the guy's like Hall of Fame or something. But yeah, Eric McCoy, my number 6. He's a really good player. I think he's on the verge of becoming like one of those household names because I think the Saints offensive line is like one of those lines that people just look at for good players. And I think people are going to start paying attention to him. So love the player. He's got to have a big year. Anchor in the middle, Eric McCoy, center for the Saints, my number 6.
My number 6, this is where I had Marcus Williams. So he's my number 2 defensive player on my list, which is a big turn for him. I mean, honestly, last year when we were doing this, it was kind of like, can you trust him? Can you sign him if the tackling doesn't get better? And he really focused on the tackling last offseason.
Right.
worked with a coach, worked on his angles, studied film, thought about the process of how to get to where he was tackling, and then actually how to go through it. And that work, I think, really, really paid off to the point that I think there were a handful of plays last year where he was in the box and he laid hits so big that he looked like Jamal Adams, just lighting dudes up underneath. And
I remember
I think he only missed
plays.
2 tackles all last year, I believe, after being at like 9 and 7 the 2 years before.
Yeah,
those numbers might be a little off, but they're definitely in the ballpark. But his tackling became really, really good last year.
yeah, he did.
One of the 2 misses was Adrian Peterson got him at the goal line, and that's Adrian Peterson at the goal line, which I don't really think there's any shame in that at all. So
you can look with that. Yeah,
I thought he played really, really well last year. He spotted his one weakness, fixed it. Obviously, you got to continue to do that. I don't project a regression in that area, so I think he's going to get better there. Just overall, if they don't sign him by the 15th, it's going to be really interesting to see what he can get on the open market. I don't know if you would tag a safety a second time and have to pay that extreme premium, but if they don't pay him by then, and he hits the market and he plays like he did last year, I mean, he's going to be pushing legitimate top of the market, and I think he could push pretty close to that right now just off of the way he played. I mean, his ball hawking skills are really good. He's good in coverage. I mean, he does everything really, really well, good to really well. So yeah, I mean, I got him here, and I mean, that was just that one area of his game. He fixed it, and it just kind of changed the whole perception, the whole conversation around him. Yeah, which is crazy to have him. You think about last year to now, because our conversations really were, who do you pay first, Ramczyk, him, or Lattimore? And I think both of us were kind of like, I don't know if I can trust him all the way. It's tough. I'd have to see something. Well, we saw it, and it changed the perception.
And no more questions.
Yeah,
there's no more questions about him. Yeah, just again, like I said, when you get a guy that can play post safety that well, you kind of gotta like keep him in the building. Because he just does so much for your defense. Last line of defense. All right, we're number 5 now.
Yep.
And I went Demario Davis here. Don't know what to say. Like one of the best free agent signings in Saints history. I think that's fair. One of the best players at that position that they've had. Leader of the defense, does everything well at linebacker. He plays a lot more going forward than going backwards, but he's not a liability in coverage. But he's one of those guys that you want going forward, definitely. Crazy good blitzer. Really, really good blitzer. In fact, a lot of times he was the 4th rusher at sometimes, and definitely the 5th, what you would consider a blitz. So, hey, I see Byron. Yeah, Byron. Vilma's up there. I'm not saying who's the best, who's not the best. But Vilma's one of my guys. But yeah, Demario Davis he's good at everything. On field, off the field, coverage, blitzing, run game. I mean, when he hits people, like, I don't think I've ever seen him run over in the Saints uniform. Like, everybody he hits they go the other way, right? So he's just a fun player to watch too. On top of like everything else about him, how good he is. Like when you put on the film and you watch him play, it's just entertaining. It's just fun. So this was an easy one for me. Easy to put him in the top 5. I just switched him. I had him at 6. I moved McCoy down and him up just because every year he's been here, he's been like good. He's like one of the few guys that you can just say is like really all pro level. So yeah, I went with Demario Davis at my number 5.
I think he's second in team history free agent signing behind Breeze. Vilma was a trade.
What about Jabari?
Jabari would be the other one.
No, he got hurt, and if he would have played longer, he would have. Yeah, Jabari, Breeze. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Darren Sproles.
Sproles is a good one, but I would say Demario's.
Yeah, I think Demario's second.
A little better. Yeah, he's a little better.
I mean, Demario's had more elite years than Sproles had in a Saints uniform.
That's the thing.
Sproles' elite season was like elite, but Demario has had more elite seasons than Sproles in a Saints uniform.
That's true. Because Sproles broke that 2011 season. Sproles he was breaking every record you could find. But yeah,
and Jabari was elite too, and then he got hurt. So I just think that at this point he's had enough seasons where I really think he is number 2 on the list.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's
my number
good.
5 too. You had all the reasons. I mean, yeah, we can move on to number 4. I mean, second best free agent signing in team history is pretty good. And I mean, look, that was a spot where I feel like the team was smart in admitting that maybe they didn't get it right the year before fully with AJ Klein, and they reinvested in the position. They caught some heat for signing him on the heels of AJ Klein from some people, hey, like, you just signed this guy. What's going on here? Why do you need this other guy? Yeah. And it turned out to be the right move for the team. And, clearly you got a really, really good player. And, I think that's been one of their strengths in their team building is just not, falling victim to the sunken cost
policy. I was about to say the exact same thing, dude. That's so right.
I mean, it's just been instrumental in their roster building. Make a mistake, admit it quickly, fix it, do what you got to do. AJ Klein, I think, was still a solid player for them. I don't think he ever hit the highs that they wanted him to hit when they signed him, but he was a good player. But yeah, DeMario bringing him in was 100% the right decision.
Yeah, elite player, all pro. And they signed up to a 3-year extension last off in the middle of the season, so kind of flew up under the radar. But yeah, he's everything you want. Number 4. This is where it gets like I don't really know what to do. I don't know what to say. I'm gonna feel like every time I talk about a guy, I'm gonna say dang, I'm saying all this stuff. Why isn't he higher? So I'm just going to go with the list where I got it right now. I got Ryan Ramczyk as my number 4. Okay. Guys, please don't attack me. I don't know what else you want out of a draft pick. I don't know what else he can do. Healthy, run game, pass game, came in, started year 1, elite. He signed to a large extension. That's what you want from a first-round pick. I don't know. He's one of the best in the NFL in what he does. He deserves to be here or anywhere else anyone decides to put him. You got him at number 1, I'm cool with it. 2, 3, 4, 5. He's just good. I don't know. He's exactly what you want when you draft someone. If you draft a tackle at number 1 and he turns out to be like Ryan Ramczyk, you're happy. That's how good he is. So that's all I got to say. He's really good and he deserves to be high and he's good at everything. And they just signed him and he's going to be a Saint for a while. And that's a good thing.
I think they have 3 young players that have a really good shot of making the Hall of Fame.
He's definitely
depending on how they go. Him, Alvin, and Mike, I think all have really good chances of.
Who do you think has the highest chance right now?
Look, it might be Ramczyk. If I had to, I think he's the most recession-proof of the 3.
Yeah.
And look, the accolades he's gotten. I've said this a lot of times. The accolades he's gotten early in his career are rare for an offensive lineman to be all pro by the second year of his career. That usually doesn't happen. They're usually a year or 2 late on recognizing these people, and they recognized him in real time.
Yeah,
and I think that's a credit to the evolution of football analysis and the available information. But he's one of the very first people that really had that happen in real time, to where the people voting on the stuff are smarter than they used to be. It's easier to know what's going on in the league. So he might have the best shot at all of them. Any of the 3 though, I think I have really good odds at this point if they continue on their trajectories there and there. I think Armstead has a chance. I don't know if he's gotten the accolades that he deserved throughout his career. I think they were late on recognizing him.
Way late.
And that stuff unfortunately matters when you get to that room. Those are the things that get brought up. And instead of saying, hey, we missed on this, they might just say, well, look, he only had this many all pros, and these guys in the Hall of Fame had this many all pros.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when that case is made, there's recognition that, hey, we messed up here. And because I do think that Armstead is Hall of Fame talent. I put Ramczyk at 4 too. I put Armstead at 3. Wow. Simply because I think Armstead had a better season than Ramczyk did last year. I think going forward, obviously Ramczyk has more elite years left in his tank and everything, but I think in the moment they're neck and neck. And I just think it'd be disingenuous to not put Armstead ahead of him, because Armstead had a slightly better season last year. I think it was maybe one of Armstead's best seasons of his career. I think his health, physical ability is still pretty high. His mental ability is outrageously high. I mean, at Duke Manyweather's offensive line summit, he's one of the guys that he speaks, and he's someone that people in the league come to for advice on how to play, because he's perfected his craft to a level that a lot of people haven't. And just the fact that he's looked at that way among his peers, I think says everything about him. And I thought his play last year was just, it was unbelievable how well he played. And he played a lot of games on the stretch with one hand. He had a busted hand. He played with one hand.
Yep.
People didn't even notice it until he had a wrap on it one game, and it was like, oh wait, it had been going on for weeks before that. He was playing one handed, and nobody noticed because he was blocking guys so well. I mean, that's where he's at in his ability. And if he can just stay on the field, which I think he's figured out better the last few years. He's knocking on the door of having that 16-game season, 17-game season now. But look, I mean, I think he's figured everything out, and they're gonna have a hard decision with him coming up after the season. How you pay him and everything. We talked about it on a podcast on the website that's for the members only. Sign up, listen to it, hear that conversation. But I mean, that's gonna be interesting to see how they handle that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't mentioned Armstead yet, and we'll see where he turns out on my list. But I have a pretty high opinion of Teron Armstead. I think people know that. I think I tweeted out, man, when Ramczyk got his contract, not to put them against each other. I was like, okay, now it's time to take care of the other guy. So, I don't know how you let a guy. He's 29, by the way, right? I think he's about to be 30, but he's not old. And in tackles, those offensive linemen, those guys can play. So, I don't know. Find a way to sign him. I'd rather have a cap problem than a talent problem. Someone told me to drop that line, so it was a perfect time for it. So, but I'll move on. So you had Ramczyk is 4 and
Armstead is
3. All right, I'll speed it up here. I got Mike Thomas at number 3. I think he's going to come back angry at the world. He probably sat in the room and convinced himself that everyone thinks he's an undrafted free agent and he doesn't belong in the league. And he's got a bunch of shirts with it written on it, and he's probably painted on his walls. And he's probably got his draft position and pictures of Laquan Treadwell and Will Fuller in his office. People saying they're better than him. He's probably going to come back super motivated. People saying that he needs Breeze and all this other stuff. He is in his own head in a good way. One of the best wide receivers in the NFL when he's healthy. All-Pro, probably top 3 wide receiver when he's healthy. What else can I say, right? As good as, again, second-round pick is best case scenario. So, Mike at number 3. I feel good about him here. He probably will feel like he should be number 1A, 1, 2, 1 in 1C. But I got Mike at number 3.
Look, it's someone that takes literally everything personally.
Yeah, he's gonna read. Yeah, I'm gonna get tweeted at. Like, he's gonna throw some shame my way for not being number 1.
Look, I mean, I take a lot of stuff personally, and when you have real stuff to motivate you, when I'm sitting there at midnight and trying to keep going, and I'm trying to work through something, and like someone says something and I'm mad about it.
Yeah,
that's real motivation. When you're trying to find things to motivate yourself,
right?
It's a little bit different. So if Mike's not looking at Devontae Parker making a comment on Instagram for his motivation, and he has real motivation, I think he's going to come back and he's going to be a monster. And look, I don't think it's hard for him to find actual motivation even without those things. But I think when it's there, I mean, I like Mike. When he's angry, I like the way he plays the game.
Man. He's like a little psycho in a good way, though. That's a compliment.
Yeah, it's the Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan type thing, where you take those slights and you're fueled by it. Like, we aren't making a Mike Jordan talent comparison, a Kobe Bryant talent comparison. Completely different situations.
Yeah,
Mike Thomas is extremely good at his craft, so I'm not making that comparison either. I just don't want the tweets, because the last time I said this, people came at me for crazily, and it's just you missed it. And if you actually, and look, everybody that watches the Saints, that's been on Mike's Instagram, all that stuff, they understand exactly what this comment means, because Mike is someone that just takes everything and it fuels him, just like Michael Jordan did. So, yeah, I mean, with that pumping through him, Look, I have him at 2 on my list. I think if he hadn't gotten hurt, he probably would have been the number 1 player on my list because I think he was running number 1. He wouldn't have relinquished that spot.
Yeah.
I just think coming off an injured season, when you have 2 guys that are extremely well placed in their standing in the league, offensive player of the league candidates, Alvin Kamara probably would have won that award last year if Taysom Hill hadn't started at quarterback. If let me rephrase that. If Drew Brees hadn't gotten hurt, I think Alvin would have won that because look, I don't know if he would have gotten the same number of targets with Jameis at quarterback either. So, but Drew being limited in the ways he was last year, I think pushed Alvin to a level. Yeah, and then you lost those games and the OPOY went away. So they could have had it back-to-back years. But I got Mike at number 2. He probably would have been my number 1. He got hurt, but I think that he's, quarterback doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. Mike's going to get his numbers. He's going to dominate. He's scheme. It doesn't matter. He's going to fit anybody's scheme. He's that good. He does everything the right way as far as running the routes and playing hard, all that stuff.
Right.
So he's at number 2 on my list, and I spoiled my number 1.
Yeah, but you just gave away your good. Yeah. All right. Well, when I give my number 2, we'll know who my number 1 is. Drum roll. My number 2 is Alvin Kamara. Again, 3rd round pick. I don't know what more he could have done or more he can do. Well, he can probably do more, but like when you pick a guy in the 3rd round and this happens, again, that's best case scenario. If you pick a running back in the top 10, you hope he becomes Alvin Kamara. Right? That's simple. He's unique. He's the prototype, for what you want out of a certain running back, a guy that you can just do pretty much everything with. This year, I would like to see them kind of get back to him running more wide receiver routes. That's a part of his game that I feel like, maybe the last year they didn't use as much. Maybe they had something to do with the quarterback situation, but in the pass game, he is as good as it is, and in fact, he's the best. He's the best pass catching running back in the NFL. I don't think there's anyone that is close to him. I think people say McCaffrey. I think he's a step above him in that area. So elite player. I'm trying to think, is there a running back in the NFL I would trade him for? I can't think of one. He's just that good. And on top of it all, he's probably close to being as good of a runner as he is a pass catcher. People sleep on that. This dude, he doesn't go down. He doesn't go down, right? Like you just look at some of the runs that he has, and guys are pulling at this guy's legs, and he's absorbing contact. He's the best running back that the Saints have had. I don't know that I've seen on the team. He just got everything. He's got everything. And if he gets in front of the defense, they're not catching him. Elite player. So Kamara's my number 2.
You said if he was top 10, that's what you would hope for. It's funny because 2017 Fournette was number 4 overall, and then Dalvin Cook went after him, Aaron Jones went after him, Alvin went after him, and I think any one of those guys, if you drafted them top 10-ish, I don't think there's a couple of them that I think you would feel better than the other.
Went in the top 10 that year.
Yeah, but just out of okay, he went after him too, so there was still yet another guy that went after him, but. Out of those other guys that went later in the draft, I mean, I think if you took them top 10, you wouldn't be mad about it. You'd feel better about a couple than some of the others. But
yeah, absolutely.
Any one of them, but the guy that went 4th overall, I mean, he's not with the team that took him. Yeah. So I mean, exactly, and he was solid for the Bucs, but he wasn't a top 10 overall pick for the
He's never going to get a long-term contract. I'm not trying to belittle the man, but he's going to be a guy that plays on 1-year contracts. He's like LeGarrette Blount, the 2021 version or something along those lines.
And Blount was a good player. He was a good, valuable player. And Fournette's a good, valuable player too. It's just as far as being picked 4th overall, you want, Saquon and
Alvin.
Yeah.
Alvin. Yeah. Dalvin or someone like that, right? So out of that running back draft, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. Hey, I'm riding with Alvin, man. He's the most versatile. He can do
Absolutely.
anything: run, pass blocking, wide receiver routes, slot routes, wheel routes out the backfield. Just name it. Punt return, kickoff return. What do you want? Like, I don't know what else the guy got to do, man. Pay the man his money. He's got his money. He deserves it. Keep him here. Great player.
There's really no. I'm not trying to like have the Homer podcast comment, but I really don't know that there's someone that I honestly wouldn't take a running back over him.
No.
I mean,
no. I've said it for years that I think he's the best running back in the NFL. This is my third year saying that.
If McCaffrey and like Saquon weren't coming off of injury situations within recent time, I think there's maybe a more valid argument.
What has Saquon shown in the NFL what would make you think he's better than Alvin? He's shown me nothing in the NFL that says.
I'm not saying he is better. I'm saying, but I think that those would be the three guys in the conversation. But then the injuries just kind of take them out, and you say, well, okay, it's Alvin. I mean, because the way last year went. But I mean, look, Saquon gets his yards on the ground and also in the passing game. Maybe not necessarily in the same versatile way in the passing game as the other two, but he's a contributor in it. I mean, he's in that conversation to some degree. Dalvin Cook's in that conversation to some degree.
Dalvin Cook is the one that I think,
Derrick Henry, although like for the type of offense, if I were running a team, I don't know that he would be the guy that I would necessarily want. But if he's on your team, you can build around them. But again, if that's how you aren't going to win a Super Bowl like that, like you just they've added the weaponry though that maybe they can, and they're we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I mean they got the weaponry now that I don't think that it's just a run offense, but I mean it'll be interesting to see what they can do. But who else? Nick Chubb would be in there somewhere.
Nick Chubb is really good. Now that dude is good. That dude is good. Like Nick Chubb, if he wasn't in Cleveland, he was someone like New York or Dallas. Like people would be talking about Nick Chubb. Like he's.
Well, look,
really
I mean, the Browns probably are going to get to shine now that he's. I don't know that Nick Chubb's under the red. Fantasy football like has made any running back that's decent.
I agree. But I mean, if Teron Armstead was a Dallas Cowboy, he would be in the Hall of Fame talks.
Maybe.
Yeah, because Tyron Smith isn't. He hasn't been good in 3 years. Because he's a Cowboy. Remember Van Der Esch was the best linebacker in the NFL for those 3 weeks because he's a Cowboy. Micah Parsons is the Rookie of the Year because he's a Cowboy. All right. I mean, you go to New York, you go to Dallas. It's these teams where you go to where you get that attention, and I get it. Right, man. That's the NFL. But
is that true right now though? Like New York over, like the Saints have been such a good team since 17 that I don't know that these teams are eclipsing them in attention. They're on national TV a lot more.
I think it's just something. Yeah, I still think it's like, I mean, because I think
the only place where that's like super true, like super duper, 100%, like decent players become way better than they should be in the NFL conversation at large is New England. I think that's the one place that definitely happens. Like Kyle Van Noy becomes much better than he actually is, and he's a solid player, but. I mean, I think that's the place where the conversation at large, like if someone's great, they become like, people start arguing that Julian Edelman's a Hall of Famer and he's not. I mean,
he's really good at times, but not a Hall of Famer. Come on.
I think that's the one place. Yeah, I mean, definitely Cowboys players get
Cowboys, bro. Trust me.
I don't know that they have more attention than the Saints currently over the last few years.
You have to be Mike or Alvin level. Or Cam's personality / like Cam was tearing up the NFL for years before people started talking about him.
Yeah, but they weren't a good team. He was doing that during the 7 and 9 years. I think since 17,
not a good team, and all people talk about all their players. That's what I'm saying. Like the Cowboys,
they had both rookies of the year in 17 though, and they were a good team, and people were paying attention. And I think since then they've maintained that attention.
But I guess what I'm saying is like if the Saints suck, no one would be paying attention to their players. If Dallas sucks, people still know everybody on that roster. The Skip Baylesses, Kyle Hurds, these dudes on talk radio. That's what I'm saying. You got these teams like the Giants are still relevant, and I
agree. But I'm saying since 17. I'm saying since 17 though. I don't know that it's a valid argument to say that those teams have more attention than the Saints. I think that's probably all equal.
But Armstead was good before 17.
But they weren't a good team. So
exactly.
he kind of got lost. But that's what I'm saying. Since 17, they're on TV as much as anybody. They've won more games than anybody. I think that they have all the attention in the world, and they still do. If they go back to being 7-9 and it's stretched out, yeah, I think some of the attention goes away. I don't know that. I think the Saints have reached a point, though, that it would be very hard for them to reach a level of irrelevancy. But being in the national conversation in the specter of the Cowboys, yeah, that's reserved for teams like them. Washington was in that position for a while. They've been bad for so long that they've kind of lost that attention. I think Green Bay is a team that could be bad for a while and still be in the national conversation. New England, obviously, the Giants, even the Jets to some degree, though they've kind of fallen out of it a little bit. But yeah, I think those hallmark, franchises, yeah, they definitely afforded a level of attention that a lot of teams are not. But when teams are good, I think they're just in that conversation and they have that attention when they have it. And then obviously, yeah, it dissipates to a certain degree. But the Cowboys obviously are above that, as are a few other teams.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the Packers would look like, actually, because they've never really been bad.
I think
at a point in my consciousness, like for so long, they've been.
It won't happen. Like all the Super Bowls and the Brett Favre. Yeah, no, they can be. It would take them. It would take the Packers a while to.
I just don't know what they're like as a bad team. I don't know.
Yeah, drifting to like the point of being irrelevant. I don't think they can go there.
Yeah,
that's because the freaking Super Bowl is named after their head coach. like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, it's just they're there. Lombardi Trophy. Oh, Packers. That's right. Yeah, it was one of those teams. Like that's NFL royalty. That's just how it is. But yeah, if the Saints have 3 7-9 seasons, back to the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, it's just so bad, it's like the minute they stop, what have you done for me lately? So all right, well, my number one, let's get out the way. I put Terron Armstead. I feel really good about this. I think he is the best player on this team. I think I had him number one last year too, if I remember correctly. So what can he do? Like, I would just say, what can he do? He's not like I could just hear and debate you all day if he's a better run blocker or pass blocker. And then I can come tomorrow and make like the counter argument to myself. I can be prosecutor or defense attorney on whatever day you want me to be right. I mean, he's that smart. I mean, he's that good physically. You alluded to it early, how smart he is as a player. I would like to think that he had, something to do with Ramczak's development. I mean, you can't help but developed, playing against a guy that good. I would probably say that even though he hasn't turned out to be what people want him to be, I'm pretty sure that, he's helped some of the defensive linemen. Like Trey Hendrickson had a good year last year, and Davenport, he gets his share of pressures, but they don't really are not the type of pressure we need. But yeah, I just think that when you got a guy like that in the left side, like if you're Jameis Winston and you got Terron Armstead on there protecting your blind side, like maybe those 30 fumbles are like 5 or something like that, right? Or, it just helps you in so many ways. And, guys, I mean, what was that Minnesota game where he was pushing dudes into the second row and he was just disrespecting every offensive lineman he can find? So I'm going to stop now. I can talk all day about Terron Armstead. Please just re-sign him. I just think that I kind of feel like he's getting the injury thing figured out. I think he's going to be good for at least another 4 or 5 years, long as he stays like on this health track that he's on. And I think he's the best. I think he's better than Ryan Ramczyk. I've always thought he's better than Ryan Ramczyk. I don't think I've ever thought that Ramczyk was better than him. And I think Ramczyk is amazing, like elite. But I think Armstead is he's a notch above him. And he's my number one player.
I got Alvin number one. We already went over the reasons for that. Looking at your list, is there? I mean, you already voiced some regrets, but now that we're at the end of it, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently?
Onyemata at number 10 feels kind of bad. Like I feel like I should have put him over Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. If I had to do the list, I would put Onyemata. I would switch on. I thought I did. I'm pretty sure I ended with Cam last week, and I put Onyemata above him. But I don't know what. I have to switch computers. You guys can see I'm in a different area. I think Onyemata would be my number 8, and I would put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at number. I would leave Marshawn at 11, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at 10, Cam at 9, and Onyemata at 8. So, and I thought that's what I did, but these lists, man, once they get to the top, it's hard to like stay still. And but yeah, that's my main regret. Like Bickert, I don't know why he's not my number 8 right on this list. So that's my one. What
I
about
don't
you?
know if I don't know if I have like an actual regret, but I don't like the order. No matter how I put them, I would have a beef with it.
Right.
I had a cluster of 4 players going, 4 defensive players going 5, 6, 7, and 8. Davis, Marcus Williams, Onyemata, Lattimore in that order.
Mm-hmm.
And like I kind of want to reorder all of them and have people in different spots, but then no matter what, you're gonna have it and not feel good about it. So
who are your top 4 again?
It was Alvin 1, Mike 2, Armstead 3, Ramczyk 4. I mean, I feel fine about that. Same thing there, kind of. Any one of them can go anywhere, but the defensive players, I don't like where any of them are, but I like where all of them are at the same time, and I just don't know a way to solve that problem. But I mean, look, they have really good talent at the top of this roster. Cam Jordan at 9, like I don't love that either. So there was a cluster of 5. But it gets tough when you get up into that range, and there's really no right answers, no wrong answers.
Yeah.
However you order those players.
Yeah, you just made me think about my list. Like my top 4 are, my top 1, 2, 3, 4 offensive players. 5 is defense, 6 is offense, and then 7 through 11 are all defense. So defense, like top 5 for the most part is offense dominated, and then from like 6 to 11 or 12, that's where like the defense kicks in. So, I think it kind of shows the offense is kind of still, that's like where the best talent lies, but the defense is like right on the heels. It's a pretty good roster, man. Jameis just needs to hold it together, right? I mean, I think it's set. Like if you're a quarterback, like is there a better situation to come into? Like I just can't think of a better situation for a quarterback to come into. You got Ramczyk and Armstead outside. You got a good center. You got some guard play could be better, but you got an elite offensive line basically, right? Quarterback, you got a top 5 offensive line, top 3 if you really want to be specific about it. You got Alvin Kamara as a running back. You got Mike Thomas as a wide receiver and Sean Payton as the coach.
And a good defense.
and a really good defense, right? Talent all over the roster. And then they got, I mean, I'm just trying to think of a better situation. Like if he can't make this work, then
there's a handful of spots, and I think this is probably one of the best ones if you're taking over a team. I mean, there's probably a case to be made for a couple of others, but I mean, they aren't getting washed by anybody talent wise. That's for sure. I mean, their top end talent is as good as anybody's top end talent.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, look, if he spent a year here, you got this team and it doesn't work out. I mean, I don't know where you go from there. Same thing for Taysom. If Taysom's been here for forever, he has the same advantages. If he doesn't make it work, it's just not going to work. Yeah. And I think that's probably true to some degree for both guys. I mean, if you can't make this work, what's it going to be?
What you going to do, man?
Yeah,
this is everything. And then, like I said,
and you can't even say like the system don't fit someone because the coaching staff is going to tailor the system.
Exactly, that's my point. Like you got Sean Payton, you got all this talent on offense and defense, and then Sean Payton is the coach, and you got players like Janoris Jenkins saying, "Yo, this is the best organization I've ever played for." They get it, like they just get it on every level. They treat you right. You ain't got to be up at 7 o'clock every morning. You come to the facility at 10:30. Your drills, you're not doing 9 plays. It's 4 plays. Go hard and get like everything is here. Everything is here for him, man. The city. Like if Jameis Winston is good, he is free food, free rent for life in New Orleans. That's the type of city it is. I mean, just right. It's like if you come to the city, you do good, they'll take care of you. So I mean, he's got a chance to cash it in, man. I'm not talking money. I'm just talking about like legacy and like being a legend in the city. It's all here for him. I just can't think of a better situation.
There's not. He's got to do it. I think I'm starting to believe that like my meter goes up every week. My meter goes up every week.
Yourself. He was like,
these videos, the videos are there's just they just keep coming out in the throws he's making.
Talk about that pass he threw to TQS on the line though.
Man, the videos are
that's crazy. I was like, woo.
And he looks ready. He looks ready. But look, again, it's a trap. I'm working through my thought process right now. Like, it is a trap in the sense that stuff there, I don't think was ever the problem.
Yeah.
Making those shows was never the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair, but boy, show look good though. Those videos look good, bro.
Yeah, they do.
Who's where they getting the end zone view from? Like, who's this man? Like, with the high school all 22 film.
That's the cameraman, man. Real Supernola, man. He's killing it with the video. I'm curious to see if there's like a larger project being put together.
It's got to be a drone somewhere. What a drone at? That's the only thing.
No, I think he's just up in the high school fields. Got the crow's nest for the all 22.
I went to little. They had that when I was there.
Yeah, I mean they got press boxes and stuff like that at a lot of them. So yeah, you can get up there. You can get the view. You can get the view. I mean the man's putting in work though to put out quality content, man. I respect it. Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah. Shout out to him, man. He's keeping us entertained in the off season.
Absolutely.
But that one he threw on. I mean that one he put on the line to Traquan was. I was like, man, that thing. That was on the rope. Like it started at a velocity and it stayed there until it reached his hand. And I was like, boy, like you could do some things in the offense with that. And that's not a shot at Breeze. Obviously, he's all-time great, but. Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. This is an exciting time to be a Saints fan. It's like, what's going to happen? Like, this guy could be really good, or he could just be like the opposite. So
yeah, it could be exciting for the right reasons or exciting for the wrong reasons. Too. It's definitely it's the first true. Well, I don't know if it's the first true, but it's I
get where you're going.
Yeah, major since 16, major period of transition. I think there was some many periods of transition within the regime, but just like wholesale was the identity. I don't really think that's been an issue since 06. Yep.
There we go. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. I mean, I think it's some good omens this offseason. Like when it was like, I think Schefter tweeted like, "Oh, one team has had its OTAs taken away." I'm like, damn it, they go to Saints again. I was like, I knew it. And it was another team. I was like, oh man, good omens, right? It's like they ain't got no crazy.
How could they violate if they didn't practice?
Man, they'll find a way, man. Come on, man. Don't act like you know the history. Yeah. So, all right, guys.
Hold on.